Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to get started in just a few moments. To start, I just wanted to mention a couple upcoming webinars with COEH. On Wednesday, September 25th, Dr. Carissa Harris will be presenting findings from a 5-year grant on exoskeletons in the construction industry. It's going to be at noon PST. On Wednesday, October 16th, Dr. Tom Armstrong will be presenting on control of localized fatigue in ergonomics, also at 12 p.m. And we have a few more webinars this fall that we'll be posting in the upcoming weeks. To find out more, you can always visit coeh@berkeley.edu/webinars. So I just wanted to welcome everybody for today's webinar. On behalf of education and research centers throughout the country, we are pleased to present the Ergonomics webinar series. This collaborative effort on behalf of each ERC's continuing education program aspires to provide access to current research supported through NIOSH ERC programs. Thank you for joining us today. Today's webinar, Engaging Frontline Workers to Solve Ergonomics Problems, is presented by Dr. Davana Pilczuk in partnership with the University of Cincinnati Education and Research Center. A few housekeeping items first. You will be muted during this presentation. If you would like to ask a question, please enter it in the online Q&A box that's at the bottom of your Zoom screen with the question mark. We will save time at the end of the presentation to address as many questions as possible. This presentation is being recorded and will be made available on the Center for Occupational and Environmental Health YouTube page within 5 business days. All participants who logged in with their registration email for the full live presentation today will receive an email tomorrow with a link to an evaluation form, and that form will qualify participants for a certificate of completion worth 1 continuing education contact hour. Once the evaluation is completed, you will be able to access and print your certificate. We are pleased to welcome our presenter, Davana Pilczuk. Dr. Pilczuk is the corporate ergonomist for Cintas, responsible for the design and implementation of the ergo program across all divisions of the company. She has been featured in the Smithsonian Air and Space Magazine, Savannah Morning News, Journal of Work, The Leader Magazine, and several other publications. Prior to corporate life, she was a sports psychology consultant for the British national swim team and taught at Auburn University in the Health and Human Performance Department. She received her master's and doctorate degrees in kinesiology from Auburn University. I'll stop sharing my screen and you can take it away, Dr. Pilczuk. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much. Okay. Can you see my screen okay? Yes, I got a thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you. I always use Teams, so Zoom is I have to get used to Zoom. I can't see you guys, so if you can't hear me or something, give me a thumbs up. Let me know what's going on. Awesome. Well, welcome. Thank you all for being here. I am Dr. Davana Pilczuk. I am the corporate ergonomist at Cintas, and I'll tell you a little bit about who Cintas is and what we do. But I have been doing ergonomics for, oh my goodness, I think it's like 20 years now. And today's presentation is not a technical one. There's no equations, there's no math, I don't think there's any bullets, maybe like the last slide. I'm going to show you a lot of pictures and tell you a story really about how we do ergo at Cintas. It's one that I hear when I talk with ergonomics folks. They get frustrated. How do we get people engaged? I've got too much on my plate. I've got a small staff, or I'm the only person doing this. How do we help, get more help? And so for years I've heard this. And so I'm going to give you some tips today on how to actually help you with that. So can you guys do me a favor and put in the chat what you do? Are you the safety professional at your business? Are you a student? Are you the ergo person? Maybe you're not an ergonomist, but you're like the designated ergo guy or gal. Just let me know, and then maybe Will can shout out what's in there.
We've got ergonomist, occupational safety, employee health nurse, EHS specialist, director of safety, ergo
Awesome.
consultant, field tech, IH. Safety
Wow.
professional, physical therapist, occupational nurse, athletic trainer, industrial hygiene consultant,
Okay.
safety coordinator. Great crowd.
Yeah, we get quite a mix. Okay. All right. Well, let's see if we can get some of your questions answered. So let me show you real quick who Cintas is, so you get a little bit of a background here. So Cintas is a big company. We might even be a company that supports you. We have over 1 million customers. And I'm going to show you in the next slide exactly what we do, but we're pretty much known for being the uniform company. We service other companies, and our motto is getting you ready for the workday. And so we provide anything from uniforms to mats that you wipe your feet on, to services to clean your restrooms, fire extinguishers, all that good stuff. And so we're big. We're all across North America. We've got 44,000, we call them partners or employees. Like I said, we have over 1 million customers. So things like businesses like Walmart, Panera, Starbucks, lots of universities, cafeterias, grounds crew, automotive, little mom and pop shops to, big companies, aerospace like Gulfstream Aerospace. We support all of our customers. So we have a lot of ground to cover from an ergo standpoint. And so the things that we do, we really have 4 different divisions. Our biggest one, and you might have seen our bright white trucks out on the road, we provide uniform rentals. And so if you have to have a uniform, oftentimes it's Cintas that we provide them. We bring them to our customers, we pick them up, we have to wash them, get them all ready for the next day, deliver them back to our customers. So we have, I think now, a fleet of about 14,000 trucks out on the road every day doing their job. And so just imagine from Texas to Florida to Maine to Colorado. We've got our drivers driving all over the place, hot, cold, snow, rain. I'm in Savannah, Georgia, and so a lot of our businesses are downtown and cobblestone roads. So we've got individuals having to walk, carry, push carts and things on cobblestone, on gravel. It's hot, it's cold. So we've got a lot of dynamic work involved in what we do with our rental facilities. Then we have facility services. So we come in, we bring from soaps to hand sanitizer, things again to keep your facilities nice and clean, hospital supplies, things like that. Then we have a division of first aid and safety. So if you've ever looked, even where you work, maybe you might see the first aid kit box. It says Cintas on it. So we provide anywhere from education on first aid, like CPR training, to the actual supplies, AED. And there's a little kit back there with first aid supplies for your business. And then finally, we do fire protection. So that might be the suppression systems up above your restaurant and your stoves and whatnot over your head, and servicing all of your fire extinguishers. They have to be compliant. And so we bring them in, take them out, make sure that they're nice and full and functioning properly. So that's a lot of different, really businesses within a business. And so let me show you our gigantic ergo team. This is us. So this is me. I manage the program. This is Christine, and like I said, I'm down in Georgia. Christine, she is out in California. She's actually out on maternity leave for a few more months. We've got Sydney. She just started about a year ago, just had her anniversary with us last week. And occasionally we get Emma, who is our intern from this summer. She's back in school, but I think we get her for maybe, if we're lucky, like 6 hours a week. So we manage all 44,000 partners, all the things that they do, from the training to events like competitions. We have teams. We have simple training to more complicated training. We have to maintain our website. We have to look at solutions. We have to do testing of products, and it's a lot of stuff, right? It's a lot. And so the question really comes down to, how do you, a very small team, and I'm assuming many of you have a smaller team, maybe not an expert system where you've got a bunch of ergonomists that are out there doing things, maybe just you are the person. How do you handle your 44,000 if you're that size, and even if you're not, even if you only have 5,000, that's still a lot. How do you manage this? when there's so many of them and so few of you to go around. And I'm going to go ahead and venture to say that ergo is probably your number one injury, or at least it's like in your top three. Can I see like a show of hands? Is that true? Anybody get like hearts? Maybe we shouldn't heart that one, but thumbs up on that one. Yeah. So you have like one of your biggest problems, and very often it's a very small group that can support solving that. So it does feel overwhelming. It does feel like this is too much. So I'm going to walk you through how we do it. That's a lot of thumbs. They just keep coming. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through how we do it here, because we totally get it. Even if we made a joke one time, even if we divide it up between the three of us, we still have like well over 10,000 people that we're supposed to support each, and it's just that's a lot. So what do? How do you go out there and get that front line to be a part of your program, so it's not just you? And so you got to build an army, right? You have to go out there and find a way to get the front line engaged so that you can do the other stuff. And I have a kind of analogy here. I think in my head, if you think of like a battle of Gettysburg, right? Maybe you've got soldiers everywhere and some are wounded and they're just people everywhere, and you've got to treat them, you got to care for them, but you don't have a hospital. Your option is to go one at a time and make sure everybody's okay, or you build the hospital, which is the program that then can take in the individuals and treat them and help them at a much faster rate and be more effective. And so what we've done is we have actually trained our front line to care for themselves for the most part, so that Sydney or myself aren't getting calls for the very basic little boo-boos, and rather we get to work on more of the complicated, bigger things. Think of that hospital. It takes a while to build a program, a system that can take in everybody and help them more effectively and a grander scale. And so this is how we do it. Right. If you want to write notes, here's the first note. Basic training. So we'll start here, and no pun intended when I say, find your frontline soldiers and then give them basic training. I literally mean when you train people, the front line. So not your engineers, not your safety professionals, not anybody that has to have a little bit more technical training, but literally the guys and gals who are out there driving the trucks, for us, folding the clothes. Maybe they don't speak English. Maybe they just started. Maybe they don't know anything and they've never even heard the word ergonomics, so they don't know what it is. Those are the individuals I'm talking about, where they're literally out there doing the work and they have very little time to step off and do additional training or do other things. How do you get them engaged? And so one of the biggest, I think, things that I see, and I won't say it's a mistake because you need heavy duty training for certain groups, but I think sometimes we get a little overzealous and we throw the book when it comes to frontline training. We throw the book at them. So instead of giving them just like one or two things to look at, we go, I'm going to tell you everything. There's posture, there's forces, there's repetition, there's contact stress, there's heat stress, there's cold stress, vibration and hand-on vibration. And we just like throw everything at them in the training. So they're left kind of feeling like that's a lot and I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So we decided, okay, what's our biggest risk factor? And for us, and I'll show you in a second, you see the background, a little bit of what we do. But for us, it's awkward postures. And so an awkward posture is really the biggest thing that we have to deal with. Yes, there's whole body vibration and there's repetition, but that is the one thing that we decided, if we could take that down, if we could address that risk factor and get the front line to focus there, we could handle a lot of those little just boo-boos, as I call them. They could do it themselves. And so this is really the high-tech lesson right here. This is it, that we teach them. And so it's, I'm going to show you how we do it in the next slide, but it looks like a capital letter I. So basically it's a line across the top of the shoulders, down the center of the body, and then right where the knuckles are, or mid-thigh. Okay, so you might know what this is, called the power zone. It's where you're strongest, meaning if you can keep the arms in this zone, you limit your risk of injury. It's just easier on the back, on the shoulders. And so you want to just basically just keep the arms here. That's what we teach them. Just keep your arms in this zone. And so we have our very high-tech masking tape. You can use painter's tape. Don't use duct tape. I've seen it done and it doesn't go well. So masking tape or painter's tape. And you literally just put it down, cross their body, cross the bottom down here. And so we teach this in the staff meeting and morning, meetings in different departments. And you just say, hey, keep your arms below this line, above this line, and close to the middle line. And anytime you're out of that area, go, oh, I'm out of my power zone. I think there's an ergonomic issue here. That's what I mean by basic. I mean, crazy, crazy simple. The most high-tech thing that we use is this stick. This is our ergo stick. This is kind of the 5th percentile female, 95th percentile male. So if you actually want to know what zones, if you're designing something to put stuff in, this stick will show you. I will, if you want to reach out, I'm going to give you guys my info on the last slide, but we have a company that helps us make some of our ergo products, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But we actually get them, they make these for us so we can purchase them. Our locations can just order 5 ergo sticks and we'll hold it next to somebody's workstation and you can see if it's, in or out of the power zone. But I love this photo because it shows you whether you're tiny or tall, there's still a sweet spot that if you can design the work in this area, you reduce that risk factor of awkward postures. And there's no PowerPoint needed. There's nothing complicated about this. It's just a very simple, right, little lesson. Teach your lessons to your front line with that in mind. Basic training. They have other things to think about. They can't remember all the risk factors. If you give them 4, 5, 7 hours of training, they're not going to remember it. Yes, training keeps you compliant, but it really should be to solve problems. So if you could get rid of at least one of your big ergo risk factors, wouldn't it be worth just focusing on that one? So that's why I love this lesson, because we say just focus on that. We'll look at the other bigger stuff, but you guys just focus out here on this one. All right, so moving on. And any questions on this one, on the lesson? Okay, I'll keep going. You guys can still hear me, right? My headset's making weird sounds, so I don't know if I'm still talking.
Yes, you're still coming through.
Okay, it's making like weird chirping sounds. All right, so moving on. Maybe. All right, so here's what we did. Step number 2 is after you basic train them and they go, oh, this is easy. I can get stuff in that zone, in that area right here between the yellow and green. I can do that. I can get it within those lines. They start coming up with ideas. But you have to find a way to get those ideas and capture them. And so a lot of companies have internal competitions. And so we did. I'm going to show you a video of ours in a second here. But the beauty of a competition is, yes, you see great ideas and you can implement those great ideas. But it also feeds itself, because when people get a chance to compete, they get to show off their ideas, they kind of get an itch to do it again and do it again. And so it motivates them to solve problems, and not just call their safety guy, their ergo guy, hey, can you come fix this? They're actively engaged in like, oh, I can do this myself. So I'm going to show you the first one at Cintas. This was from 2017. And this was actually at our corporate headquarters in Mason, Ohio. So let me show you this.
Today was really a celebration of the last few years of hard work by our locations who've been engaged in solving ergonomics problems that make a difference in all of our partners' lives. We had well over 100 entrants into this competition. Today we invited the top 27 teams, and these 27 teams were the finest.
Well, I'll tell you, the 2017 Cintas Ergo Cup, to sum it up in one word, was just enthusiasm. Engagement of the people just came through so many ways.
What happened there?
I like the fact that they didn't just focus on ergonomics, they focused on quality, productivity, and the other measurable things that all roll into sustainability. We can come up with an idea that works for ergonomics, but if it doesn't do these other things, it's not going to stick and it won't last long term. But I think the best thing of all was the amazement and engagement of your senior management.
We got a chance for our partners, our frontline partners, to bring their ideas to their executives and be supported by those executives.
That was really impressive to me, that they, one, devoted as much time as they did, and two, that they really saw the potential from this.
In our demonstrations today, we had corporate partners coming through and seeing these ideas, learning about what our locations do, what some of their struggles are, what are the problems they're trying to solve. And each of these, when you look at them individually, are impressive enough. But when you start to think of them taking in their totality, these 27 solutions, and what a difference they make in all of our partners' lives, they're really moving us towards being a world leader in safety.
I think what we saw is not only improvement in ergonomics, but what I call SQDC, the safety, the quality, the delivery, and the cost. All of those things came through, they shine through.
The Ergo Cup concluded this year with the handing out of the Ergo Cup and the Partner Choice Awards. 13 teams took home those awards, and those 13 teams are the cream of the crop of the ergonomic solutions for this year, 2017.
Ergo Cup was amazing for multiple reasons. Not only is it bringing the divisions together so we can benchmark and get to know people, but we're providing solutions for our partners, which then translate over to our customers, and it's going to help our shareholders. So it's been an amazing experience. We're very humbled and privileged to be a part of this.
I want to thank everyone in Cinta for inviting us and making this an experience that we can share with everyone in our plant.
It's been a great experience. It was fun coming out here, seeing all the great ideas. It was very tough competition, and I'm proud to say that we won it, but we went against a lot of great teams, and we have a lot of great ideas out there.
Safety, preventing injuries is a journey. It is really just the start of the journey of keeping our partners safe, improving our safety, and keeping Cintas ready for the workday.
So we have continued to have that event every year, even through COVID. We did it virtually. And so we've just continued to promote, hey, it's coming. This year's event is here. Submit your great ideas. Every year we worry, what if nobody submits anything? And that's not happened yet. They always do. There's something out there. But again, it's a way to, have fun. There's something that it's out of the ordinary. So they look forward to it. But this is the kind of ideas you get. So again, remember, frontline, basic training, you're going to get some, I won't say basic ideas, but they're simplistic ideas. And that's okay. You want that. You want them to be able to problem solve at the, self level. I think I have teenagers now. I've got actually one just went into college and one she's still in high school. But when they were little and they had a bump or a cut, they come and say, Mom, I cut my finger, and you would have to wash it and put Neosporin on it and put a Band-Aid on it. And so, it's a basic injury, but they didn't know how to care for themselves. But now that they're older, they can handle that themselves. And that's what I want you to have your people do. You don't want them coming to you with every bump and bruise. They should be able to do that self-care level on their own. And so this is what this looks like. A basic problem solving is looking at this scrub brush and going, hey, my hands are below mid-thigh. I'm away from the center line on my body. That's not good posture. What if we replaced this handle with one that's a snow shovel with a D handle? That's pretty creative. Get you back up into an upright position. Great, simple little idea. I never would have thought of that. Very creative. But this is the kind of idea that you're looking for, is something that's just creative and simple. They were so excited to show us this. It's cool. They made a little poster board. Our executives, as you could see, they walked around, engaged. And so now when you see really good ones, your job is now to kind of market and get those ideas out. So you're not just solving problems all the time. You can now represent the people who are solving problems, and your job is now to expedite the sharing of those ideas and get them out there. Here's another one. If you ever have gone, excuse me, to the dry cleaner and you have to pick up your clothes, right? They're always like hanging on a rail system. Well, we have giant amounts of laundry. And so you can see here, we've got rail systems that the clothing hang on. And so they have to get waxed. I didn't realize that when I came here and started working. I said, what? They have to wax the rails? So they literally get like a piece of wax, like for a surfboard. And this is a little device that was created. Here's the wax right here. And so they'd have to get a maintenance guy, as seen here, to climb up, get a ladder, and he would have to wax the rails. And so let me show you the idea. I'm going to show you the solution and what my team did.
Waxing the rails in the hanging area is difficult due to the height of the rails. Doing this task while standing on the floor requires reaching over the shoulder, which is an at-risk motion. The other option is to ask maintenance to do the task. Since maintenance uses ladders to complete the task, it takes more time to complete and introduces additional risk while working from heights. We created a versatile wax-holding tool that has several elements pieced together, creating a one-of-a-kind tool. A mop head is attached to U-shaped PVC. The PVC is attached to an extendable painter's pole. A block of wax can then be held in the mop head clamp. Once all components are assembled, the partners can work from the floor to wax the top of the high rails. By using the waxing tool, our partners can reach the overhead rails while their arms remain in the power zone. This has eliminated 3,276 at-risk shoulder motions, reducing strain and fatigue. Now that we are keeping the rails waxed more frequently, garments do not drop to the floor. This improves garment quality and has eliminated 2,605 back bends annually. Ladder use has been eliminated, reducing the risk of falling. Our maintenance partners are no longer needed for this task, which is an additional labor savings benefit for that group.
I never would have come up with that. I don't come up with much, apparently. But what I do come up with is figuring out, okay, that's a good idea. How do we mass produce that? So our team actually moved into figuring out how do we take these great ideas and quickly mass producing them for the rest of the 500 plus locations to use. That's a great idea. And as you probably know, those wonderful ideas tend to stay local and they don't go anywhere. And so my team, which was my coworker, he's retired, Glenn Flood, and I figured out a way, and working with a company called Quick Innovative Solutions, which again, they make the poles for us. We reached out to them. We said, hey, here's a great idea. How do we quickly mass produce this so that it's more durable, it's safer? Because we were worried, what if this thing, falls off and bump somebody in the head? We can't have that. And so they looked at taking a great invention and then how can you replicate it for mass production? And so we ended up making this little device that QIS ended up 3D printing for us. We attached it to a painter's pole, slid the wax in there, and we got it out to lots and lots, hundreds of locations that now use this simple device. So that's what I mean by get your workforce to start to come up with these ideas that I guarantee you, the ladies that you saw, they're little and they're trying to figure out how to do this and have to call the maintenance person. They have the ideas in their heads. They do it every day. When you go, you got to sit there and learn it and ask questions. They know the answer in their head. They just need to get it out to you. And so let me show you one more. I'm going to show you, see that one again. So let me show you one more of a great simple idea. So this one is near and dear to my heart because this was during 2020. And it was actually Christmas time when we had to work on this project. So as you can imagine, when all of the COVID was just kind of starting out, every company wanted hand sanitizer stands. You know, from the bank to the grocery store to anywhere you went, you see these stands, and you right, you put your hand under there, and you get, oh, sanitize my hands. Tens of thousands of them were like, we need them now, we need them now. And so our people were frantically trying to build these things. And so this is what it looks like. It's about a 15-20 pound base plate, very sharp, that you have to then hold steady and line up with the stand part and put the screws in just accurately. But remember, you're holding 20 pounds with one hand and trying to screw in with the other. So we did have some slips that landed on people's feet. We didn't have anything major, but it was enough to say, this is not good. So one of our maintenance partners actually came up with this jig here, where he designed a wood jig that held the base plate. So now you weren't wrestling with that part. You just lined it up and put the screws in, and you were done with it. So let me show you the video. Uh-oh, that's never good. Hang on.
We all know the problem assembling sanitizer stands puts partners at awkward positions while they're bolting all those pieces together. The process is just time-consuming and labor-intensive. If there was only a better way. Introducing the Sanitizer Stand Jig. From Cintas Fresno, the location that gave you the trench lift and the cami slide, comes the new Sanitizer Stand Jig.
Oh hey, I'm Mike Medina. Welcome to M2 Labs, where we design and create the Sanitizer Stand Jig to allow partners to work in their power zone, keep them safe, and reduce assembly time.
While being able to complete the task of building these stands while staying in your power zone, we have eliminated ergonomic risks to the back and shoulders. The jig holds the sanitizer parts in place for easy-to-use assembly.
It's like two partners in one!
By doing so, the quality of our final sanitizer stands is consistently good, and the time it takes to cycle these things through is reduced by 30%.
The jig is up!
The Cintas Sanitizer Stand Jig is ready to help you grow. And now, the assembly is hassle-free.
It's an entire safety program in one device.
Let's Ergo get some new customers.
Another great idea that I had nothing to do with. They create such amazing things. But here's the part I did have something to do with. So Christmas time, we got wind of this idea. And so Glenn and I on Christmas Eve worked with QIS for that week of Christmas and the week after to quickly mass produce this idea into something that was more compact. And this is it here, something that was more durable, lightweight, that we could quickly get out to the masses. You think hundreds of locations need it right now. So packaging them, getting them out there. And so we moved from figuring out and trying to solve to just, we got the idea and now let's get it out there. And so as you can see, we've also taken advantage of using videos to act like infomercials so that we can quickly send videos to our different locations, say, hey, do you want to see the hand sanitizer jig? Do you need to order one now? And so we're using that. Another way to get partners to participate more, name the idea after them. We call this the Medina jig because Mike Medina invented it. So they have a real stake in the game when their name is tied to something, because that's my idea. I made that. And so my team has turned into more of a marketing and distribution center, in addition to problem solving, but we get to a lot more people when we can quickly gather those ideas and then spread them. And this is Mike. And so I didn't put it in there, but I should say, along with the engagement, number 2 is appreciation. You have to appreciate your people when they come up with a really good idea. You can't just say, oh, thank you, and move on with the idea. Like, really, like you would with your kids, and you put their macaroni art on the refrigerator, put it on the refrigerator as big as you can so that the whole company can see the great ideas. And so we actually took Mike to the Applied Ergonomics Conference. It's an annual conference that does all things ergonomics, and they have a giant competition. Usually about 50, 60 companies compete. Mike competed in there with his hand sanitizer jig story. He ended up winning the People's Choice Award. The audience thought that was a great idea, probably because we all knew the story because we used it. But we recognized him, and that's our safety partner, Michelle, who was there. She supported his region. And so she was there as well. So you have to show appreciation when they do something really good, because you want them to keep doing it, right? And so Mike, remember his name, and I'm going to show you Rex here. I'm going to tell you about them in a second, because their ideas have really stood out, really stood out. And so this is one that Rex, this is Rex here. He's 6'7". He has to push a Kaivac machine, which can be very heavy when it's filled with fluid. I think up to, I've heard, like 200 pounds possibly. So big, tall guy, got to push this thing, not just through the customer's location, whatever they've got going on, but you got to get it out of your truck, through the parking lot, up the sidewalks. It's bumpy, it's hard. So he created a handle. I think he even did it at home, possibly, but he made this little makeshift handle so that he didn't have to hunch over like this. And again, we caught wind of it. We took it to QIS. We sat down. We said, how can we make this handle, again, safer, more durable, and mass producible? If that's a word. And so this is the design we came up with. And so many iterations later, this was it. And so you can now attach it to a Kaivac. So if you are taller, you can now not have to be bent over while you're doing your job. And then we took Rex to the Applied Ergo Conference, submitted his idea, it got chosen to compete, and then he won this past March at the People's Choice Award, Excellence Award. So again, you can see how tall he is. This is all the rest of us, and then he's really super tall. So again, ideas that I would never come up with, but the front line is coming up with these ideas because they do them every single day. And so you've got to find a way to capture those ideas because they're there. And they just don't tell you, and no one's asking. So find a way to get it out of them. And so I know I said you want to build your army, but I will be honest, they have great ideas, but once in a while, you need something a little bit more robust, right? You need your special ops team. Sometimes you need G.I. Joe or Reacher, right? You need to get them out there because these individuals have ideas that are like next level. So when you saw the first video of the competition, great, simple ideas, but then you see Mike's jig and then you see Rex's handle and you're thinking, okay, that's like a little bit more advanced skill set that they have. And so what we found in our fair event of having this annual competition was that every year there seemed to be just a handful of ideas that were like next level, really super out of the world, kind of like great ideas. And so we decided, you know what, why don't we pick these individuals and see if they want to be on a team. So we actually a few years ago created our Ergo Inventors team. So these folks are really talented, where they might have a different set of skills like welding or woodworking. They might be carpenters. They might be in a past life. I love military folks because so many of them have a background in mechanics and working on engines and that kind of thing. These people create some amazing ideas, but you often never hear from them because they're hidden. So they're maybe not in your engineering department. They're not in your safety, department or on your team. They may not even be in the front line. What we have found is they're hidden. And this is where you find them. Maintenance people, facilities people. If you have a fleet, the mechanics that work on your vehicles, they're quiet and they're problem solvers. Because think about what do they do all day? They get work orders, work. What is a work order? Problem. They're so used to quickly getting problems and having to figure out what do they need to do to solve them that they have the exact skill set that you need. They just need a little tweaking and teaching about ergo. And so our engineer, Sydney, she runs the team now. And so she gives them every month, they meet just for an hour on Teams. And she just says, here's a little, snippet on friction and how do we reduce friction? Here's a little snippet on pinch grip. How do we look at jobs to reduce pinch grip? And so she then says, here's a problem. What would you do to solve it? And so they then get together, they come up with ideas. They're back in their boiler rooms and, in their maintenance work areas, and they start coming up with elaborate things. And so this is Woody Rogers and Brian Tollison. And so again, they're our maintenance partners, but these guys are creating next level ideas. And so one of the ideas is seen here. These are shocks. Bet you didn't know this. So behind you, or behind them, I should say, is this giant, it's fake, it was at the conference, but picture of a washing machine, an industrial washing machine. And so if you think about when you see your washer at home and it's like shaking, well, these do that too. And so they need shocks. And those shocks need to be replaced by hand. And there's a lot of them. I think they told me there's like 18 or so. And so that's each washing machine has to be serviced and have these things replaced. So they actually came up with a pneumatic device with our partners at QIS to come up with a way to just much easier remove these shocks, because it was really hard to do. And nobody even knew about it because the maintenance person just stays quiet and handles it. But these are the types of folks that I'm saying you want to look for them. They're out there. They have amazing ideas. They're crafty. They have skills like Brian's a welder. Didn't know that. Makes amazing just metal work when you see what he can do. And so you want to find them. And our team is not like 50 people. I think we have like 7 out of 44,000. There's 7 that we found they're really good. But we groom them, we work with them, we invest in them. And as you saw the prior pictures, all of them going to the conference ended up being on our inventors team because their ideas were just so next level. And what we have done is this is a picture or part of our web page that when you click on ergonomics, and you can get training and over here, training and whatnot, but you go to solutions, this page pops up and all the products that you just saw are there for purchase. And you can click on the quick innovative solutions. They actually have partnered with us so that when you want to purchase this stick for training purposes, just click on it. How many you want? 5, 50, you order, make your order, and it comes straight to your location. Doesn't involve myself, Sydney. It just goes exactly, what do you need? What do you want to get? And there you go. So we have now moved into more of the product development and marketing of ideas versus just the assessments and figuring out what's wrong. Our partners are doing much of that for us. And so the end result, my last slide, is that our program of involving the frontline has received some recognition back in 2019. We actually were given the OSHA Innovation Award for our approach to solving problems and engaging our people. This is our ergo injury rates that you can see through our fiscal year 17, 18, 19. It has slowly declined. And again, you see how many we've got on our staff. This is the front line participating and helping with this. And then, of course, recognizing our Woodies and Brians, we've received 5 Ergo Cups for our ideas, 3 Excellence Awards, and numerous patents. So, moral of this story, ease up on your training. Crazy simple. Just focus on like one thing for them to address. Engage them, thank them. And once in a while, you need a special ops team to help you with the harder stuff. So good luck, guys. Hope this worked for you. And here's my contact information. Please reach out, call, email. Happy to help you. Will, back to you.
Thank you so much, Davana. We've got a couple questions coming in. I have a first question for you.
Okay.
In this process of training frontline workers, engaging them, creating this special ops team, basically giving people independence to solve these problems on their own, I'm curious what the biggest challenges that you have encountered have been.
It's still getting the ideas. There's still that system where you've got a whole lot of them, and it's got to get to the top of the pyramid. We're still trying to figure out the best way to share best practices. Right now, our safety team, which is responsible for like multiple locations, we rely heavily on them to spot and then tell us, hey, we saw something really unique here, and go that way. But we're trying to play with how do we much more quickly get those ideas up to us so that we can run with them and mass produce them. So it's still a problem. Yeah. So anybody has ideas on that one, I'm open to hearing it.
Someone had a question related to that. Do you have an internal best practices repository? How do you share ideas across different sites?
So we currently have a quarterly update meeting. We call it the Ergo Update. And so we invite our safety team, and then we invite different locations. We actually have what's called excellence centers. So they are Cintas locations who've gone above and beyond with ergonomics. So kind of like your honor students, they're trying really hard, they're doing really good, and so they're invited on the call. And so we ask for feedback. What have you guys seen? What do what ideas do you have? But then we also push out, here's what we're seeing in location 1, 2, 3. Here's what this group is doing. Here's what this person did, so that it's kind of going both ways.
Great, thank you for answering that. I've got one question from an anonymous person. What one factor do you consider most critical to success, and which without the program would be a bust and you shouldn't even bother trying to implement the program?
That's a good question. You have to be open and accept that you might have the fancy degrees, you might have that title, but they know a lot. And you have to have some humility to go out there and say, and I'm not a kind of person that knows how to work with wood or metal work. So I'm very honest. Like, I have no idea what this is. What would you do? And just be humble and just say, tell me what you would do here. If you were me, what would you do? And allow them to just teach you. Because I think too often we come in and we're the experts. Let me tell you what's wrong. And if you just say, what would you do? Just show me. You develop a rapport. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen as a roadblock is being in safety. There might be the kind of that compliance feel or the expert feel. If I'm an engineer and, I know the technical stuff, they're very creative. And so you're not looking for perfection. You're looking for creativity and the idea and the concept that you may not have come up with. That's the part I think if people are a little bit more humble and just said, teach me, you'll get a lot of learning that way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's cool to see people's creativity come out. I have a question similar to that from somebody who's asking when you're working with these frontline workers, are you presenting the problems to them and sort of soliciting submissions based on that, or do you kind of leave it open-ended?
I leave it open-ended. So often when Sydney and I are out there walking around, we'll just say, hey, tell us what you do. Walk me through your job. Is there anything? And here's the biggest way to find out if you have an ergo problem. If you ask somebody and you say, hey, what's ergonomically wrong with your job? They look at you and they're like, it's fine. Nothing. You're like, let me ask a different way. What part of your job do you not like at all and wish you could never have to do? And they're like, this part. And so opening it that way of just what part of your job do you not like, they're very quick to show you and tell you, what to look for. And you go, oh, that's why, because the weight or because of the reach, or that's what they don't like. So just phrase it in a way that they can relate. They don't know the concepts and the words and all the things that we know. So just ask them, what don't you like? And then they'll tell you why they don't like it. And that's so much easier.
Great. I was wondering, and somebody else had a similar question. I was wondering, in like taking this hands-off approach, how do you measure success? And someone was asking, obviously we think about injury rates. And so somebody was asking too, have you tracked other metrics resulting from these improvements? So what does success look like? How do you measure that?
So I showed you our injuries. We were seeing, and that's our EIR, the ergo incident rate. So we track those separate from just safety injuries in general. But we heavily tell our locations that ergonomics is tied to quality and productivity. So I think one of the slides when I showed you the Medina jig, they found a 33% labor savings, and they could go faster. So that's one of the things that we teach them is if when you design something and it's easier on the human, they won't make as many mistakes and they'll go faster and they can go longer and keep that pace. And so we always tell them to look for quality and productivity. So we don't track that. That would be really hard to do with the amount of job tasks and things that we have, but we do teach them for them to look at that. And so when they report out and talk about things to their executives, they use that language of, hey, this was 33% faster, or hey, we had a reduction in overtime, or hey, we went from a 2-partner job down to a 1-partner job. So they know how to convey that. But we don't currently capture that anyway. I think that would be hard to do, but it is taught, and it is in the mindset of it's more than just preventing an injury. You can have both. You can prevent the injury and go faster and be better. So win-win-win.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense looking at it from quality, productivity, but then also injury, making sure that people aren't getting hurt. Someone asked Ernesto, he asked, how do you get buy-in using the solution idea? I think and Ernesto, you can correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but how do you say, like, if somebody has a solution and you present the solution in, say, a different department, what is it like getting people to buy into, say, a new way of doing their work? Is that ever a challenge? Maybe somebody's so used to doing something a certain way, and then they get this new device or a new way of doing things. Has that been a problem in your process?
Well, there's a few things there. The reason why we name the ideas after them is because it helps with the buy-in. If it's named after you and your buddies are doing it, it's more, and again, it's not Davana came and Sydney came and the experts. No. It's like the frontline doing it is vouching for it. So the buy-in's faster, right? So that's one of the ways that we do it. A second one is sometimes it's just a good solution, like that Medina jig, and it became mandatory. And so a communication went out, thou shalt do, you will use this. It works. We don't want you to question it. It works. Just use this. And so there's some of them that are not a lot, but once in a while, there's just a mandatory solution. You will use this new idea. But we have found by letting them be the ones that come up with the ideas, we ask them to talk on them. We make the videos of them, that the buy-in is better because they can relate to each other, and that, me versus Woody, the 2 guys that you saw on there, he's a maintenance person. If I come in and say, you should do this, maybe they'll listen. If Woody says this works, they do it because they can relate to him. So you got to find the person that can sell the message. And sometimes, often, it's not you. It's not the expert. It's not the, you've got to find who has the clout in your locations, and you feed them the information and the idea, and then they go sell it. And there's the buy-in.
Thank you so much for answering that. That makes a lot of sense. We don't have any more questions. I just wanted to give a minute if anybody else has any other questions. If we don't, I'd love to also, we have a couple more minutes left. I'd love to hear any other stories that you have, any other success stories, if you have any. Otherwise, we can end a couple minutes early.
Sure, so I'll keep talking unless you want them. Anybody else want to?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead with some stories, we'll see if any other questions come in.
Yeah, one of the other things that we did is, I mentioned this, we started the Ergo Excellence Centers. Cintas has a lot of VPP locations. We're very, very just, our culture is about safety. It's not something we talk about. It is what we do. And so we decided to have excellence centers where if you're above and beyond doing things for ergonomics, you get to be a part of these excellence centers. So we do have a little bit of a criteria that we come up with, but that has really kind of set the stage of here's what excellence is. Here's compliance. And so we're actually currently working on making some of these criteria of where do you fall, so that they know what to achieve. I think sometimes they don't know what to go after or what to do. So if you spell out a criteria, if you need to implement, a solution a month, or you need to come up with one idea a year, that's a big idea. You need to have a monthly meeting. If you set some criteria for them, they then know what to achieve. But too often they know what to do for safety, but ergo just feels It's different, and it is, because it's most of the problems you have, there's not an off-the-shelf solution. You're going to have to come up with something. And so there's a different feel to, fall protection or lockout tagout. There's the answer. You just go do it. So that's why you need to approach this a little bit more differently, because you want them to like it, get involved in it, and enjoy it. But again, if you recognize from an excellence center or an inventors team, there's things for them to shoot for, to be a part of, to kind of raise the bar.
Great, thank you. That's a great story. I have two more questions that have come in. From Brian, he is asking, you said that you are patenting the products your employees are making. Are they benefiting from these patents financially if the development is outside of the assigned roles and responsibilities?
So I'm sure a lot of you have the legalese as well, that if you're developing something that's related to your job, the company owns it. And last company I worked with, same issue. People were coming up with great ideas, and then finding out, like, I have to give up my idea. So we actually talk to them and teach them, here's the patent process and here's the benefits of getting a patent. A lot of people don't know. It's like, I think like 20,000 out of the gate just to start the process. So unless you have a huge chunk of money, um, that's going to cost you a lot to do this by yourself. Then you're going to have to market it and sell it, quit your day job to get all this to hopefully. So we pitch it in the way of having a patent. Literally, your name's on a plaque. You will forever be the inventor of this idea. Yes, the company might own it, but if you're one of those minds that are that creative, keep tweaking and improving your ideas, and let the company pay for it if it's at that level. So we do try to help them with, see it in a different way, that they're not stealing your ideas, but that you're helping a lot of people with this idea. We're funding it. We're finding the QIS companies and stuff to grow and tweak and improve your ideas. So it's more of a collaboration, and we don't want them feeling like, that's my idea. I don't want them to feel that way. So we very much try to embrace them and show them, here's the positive of having the company, own the patent, but you will forever be the international inventor.
I have an interesting question that just came in. Where do you see computer vision and motion capture technology intersecting the ergo field in terms of early risk assessments, injury mitigation, and job placement matching?
Oh, I think it's coming down the pipe. I think if it's not already here, with all of the new technology stuff out there. And we all know the aging workforce, we're losing so much knowledge that's going out with people retiring. The workforce is getting smaller. So the reliance, I think, on technology, whether it's to do assessments or any of these things, we are going to need those things. I definitely think so.
I agree. We have a question from an anonymous person. How have you found organizations that have the right passion and leadership to do these types of programs? How do you where do you source these organizations from? Do they come to you?
Oh, you mean like within the company, the different facilities?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this person's asking if you're working with outside organizations, although it is focused on your company. So maybe that's a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
Sure.
I think on that one, I'll just say, if you're talking about internally, that whole field of dreams, if you build it, they will come. Just build it. Build the competition, build the fun event. People are always wanting to engage in something fun at work. So just build it and they'll come to you.
Yeah, in that vein, this isn't as much a question, but a comment. Somebody said that they have dojos at their place of work where employees can come to see in-house made solutions and can share their ideas that we can develop with innovation labs. So yeah, like providing that space where people can come and be creative and share ideas.
That's Boeing. You guys have great ideas.
Yeah, that's from Miriam. Okay, great. Well, we're right about at time. Davana, thank you so much for coming and presenting today. And thanks everybody for these great questions. This recording will be available in about 5 business days if anybody wants to watch it again. Davana, did you have any closing statements? Anything that you want to add?
No, just here's the secret sauce. Make it fun. Work is work. People always want something fun. So if you make it fun, they will come and you'll benefit. It's a win-win.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody for coming. Have a great day.